everyone. Today we will present about The Image of the City by Kevin Lynch. This book explains how people perceive, understand, and remember cities. It is an important study in urban design because it shows how city environments influence the way people move and experience urban spaces. Understanding the image of the city. This slide introduced the concept of the image of the city. The book was written by Kevin Lynch, an urban planner and professor at MIT, and was published in 1960. Lynch introduced the idea of image ability, which means how easily a city can be recognized and remembered by people. When a city has strong image ability, people can navigate and understand the city more easily. What is the book about? This book focuses on how people experience cities and their daily life. Lynch conducted research in cities such as Boston, Jersey City, and Los Angeles to understand how residents perceive their urban environment. He found that people form mental maps of cities using elements like landmarks, routes, and districts. These elements help people navigate and remember places. Overall, the book shows that cities are not only physical spaces but also places shaped by human perception and experience. Now, let's look at why this concept is important. A well-designed city can create greater comfort by reducing stress and making daily environments easier to live in. It also allows easier navigation because people can understand the city layout and move around without confusion. At the same time, landmarks and districts create a strong city identity, giving the city its own character. Finally, strong image ability helps build meaningful connection where people feel pride and a sense of belonging in their community.
We are exploring how we perceive and navigate the urban environments around us. Based on the work of Kevin Lynch, we will look at how the physical form of a city translates into a mental picture for its residents. Let's start with the concept of mental maps. A mental map is a person's unique internal representation of a city. We don't just see city as a static map, we build it over time based on our own personal routes, daily habits, and the place we find most memorable. In the Malaysian context, these mental maps are often structured around three main pillars, such as major roads, transit line, and iconic landmark. For the major roads, such as the Lebuh Raya Damansara to Puchong or the historic Jalan Tunku Abdul Rahman at Batu Road. For the transit lines, specifically our rail networks like the LRT and MRT. And finally, the iconic landmark are most notably the Petronas Twin Tower, which act as a constant North Star for residents and visitors alike. Next, we look at legibility. This refers to ease which a city's part can be recognized and organized into a coherent pattern. Lynch found that highly legible cities allow residents to navigate confidently because they have a clear visual structure. This isn't just about finding your way, it's essential for our psychological comfort within a busy urban environment. Legibility relies on three factors, which is clear routes, recognizable landmark, and organized structure. For the clear routes, we need a well-defined pathway that guide our movement. And next is recognizable landmark. Distinct features that serve as a reference points. An organized structure, a logical layout that builds a user's confidence. We can see this in Warren's own example as Manhattan, known for its predictable 1,811 grid system of numbered streets and avenues. For Dubai, where the Burj Khalifa is so prominent, it serves as the primary wayfinding tool for the entire metro area. For the Adelaide, often called a planet's dream because its precise grid is encased in a continuous string of parklands, creating a clear structural boundary. Finally, we have imageability. This is the quality that gives a place a strong, vivid, and lasting image in our minds. It what makes a city stand out and remain memorable over time. Imageability is achieved through a distinct architecture, unique street pattern, and memorable public spaces. For the distinct architecture, there needs to be unique buildings that pop visually, and the second one, unique street pattern. is energy layout that creates a memorable form, and lastly, the memorable public spaces such as plazas or waterfront that leave an impression. Cities like Venice, San Francisco, and Boston are classic examples of high imageability. Their distinctive features make them not just easy to navigate, but impossible to forget. By understanding these three elements, mental map, legibility, and imageability, urban planners can design cities that are not only functional but also deeply intuitive and comfortable for the people who live in them.
Next, I will be explaining about the five elements. So, Kevin Lynch introduced five main elements that help us understand how people see and remember a city. These elements are paths, edges, districts, nodes, and landmarks. Basically, all of these work together to make a city easier to read and navigate. Paths are the routes we move through, edges are the boundaries, districts are areas with their own character, nodes are activity points, and landmarks are the features we use as reference. Next, I will be going through the elements in detail. First is path. For paths, these are the routes that people usually travel through in a city, like streets, walkways, or even railways. They are actually very important because most people experience this city while moving along these paths. So, along these routes, we can see how other elements like buildings or spaces are arranged, which help us understand the city better. Number two is edges. Edges are basically the boundaries that separate different areas in a city. Examples include rivers, highways, walls, or railway lines. These edges can act as barriers, but sometimes they can also connect areas, and they help people recognize where one space ends and another begins.
Districts are medium to large areas in a city that have a clear and recognizable character. When people enter a district, they feel they are inside a distinct zone. These areas share a similar physical or functional identity, whether through architecture, land use, or cultural activity. Each district has its own atmosphere, which helps people navigate the city by moving from one district to another. For example, in Malaysia, Bukit Bintang in Kuala Lumpur is known as a shopping and entertainment district, while Georgetown in Penang is recognized as a heritage district with colonial architecture and vibrant street art. Nodes are strategic points in a city where people gather, enter, or change direction. They act as focal points of movement and orientation. Nodes often occur where paths intersect, such as transport interchanges or busy plazas. They also serve as symbolic centers within district, concentrating activity and identity. In Malaysia, KL Central is a major transportation node, connecting rail, MRT, buses, and pedestrian flows. Meanwhile, Dataran Merdeka functions as a civic and cultural node, serving as a symbolic gathering space in Kuala Lumpur. Landmarks are external reference points that people use to orient themselves in the city. Unlike districts or nodes, landmarks are not entered, they are observed. They can be citywide, visible from multiple angles and distances, or local, guiding movement within neighborhoods. For instance, the Petronas Tin Towers in Kuala Lumpur are iconic citywide landmarks, while Penang Hill serves as a natural orientation point. On a smaller scale, the Jompo Street signboards in Malacca act as local landmarks, giving identity and guiding local movement.
Kevin Lynch argues that a good city design should have a clear layout, recognizable features, and also a strong sense of identification. Urban space taught us to be planned to be facilitate easy for navigation and create memorable experience for everyone who uses them. In addition, safety and comfort are essential as urban space should be well lit, active, and also support natural surveillance. As highlighted by Jane Jacobs, good city design promotes mixed-use development to keep areas vibrant. Walkability is also important, with pedestrian-friendly, human-scale environments, public space encourage social interaction, while flexibility allows the city to adapt to future needs. Now we go for the key takeaways that I had mentioned in the book. Cities should be crafted with human perception in mind. Rather than just focusing on physical efficiency, a thriving city is one that is easy to read, visual appealing, and also meaningful to those who live in and travel to it. Furthermore, urban environments should create a strong sense of place by combining identification. Structure means that making them not only functional but also memorable and engaged. A well-designed city also enhances everyday experience, supports social interaction, and responds to the needs of users, ultimately improving the overall quality of the urban life. There are a few examples that we can show in our country, like the Kuala Lumpur. We can clearly see the Lynch principles at work, with major roads serving as a pathway, the iconic building that acts as a landmark, and distinct area like commercial or cultural district. Those elements helps both residential and also visitors to build a mental picture of the city. Landmarks is a distinct spatial features that used for orientation, and the city skyline is dominated by highly visible, iconic structures that serve as a major reference point, and most notably, the Petronas Twin Tower and the KL Tower. It is recognized as an anchor of the city. There are also the historic landmarks, which is the Sultan Abdul Samad Building and the Jame' Mosque. It is often regarded as the most recognizable landmarks located at the confluence of Klang and Gombak rivers. Kuala Lumpur is also structured by the recognizable district with specific functional and aesthetic identities, which is the cultural district like the KLCC and also the Chinatown. There are also heritage zone, which is the Dataran Merdeka area that stands out due to its colonial era architecture style. To wrap things up, urban design doesn't go beyond just putting up buildings and infrastructure. It also talks about shaping how people perceive and interact with space, and by grasping this principle, designers can create a lot of cities that are more intuitive, engaging, and also meaningful for others.